My friend, pay close attention. This Week 17 game is not ordinary. The Eagles have already secured the NFC East, but the duel against the Bills could be a preview of the playoffs or a dangerous trap. On the other side, Buffalo arrives full of doubts, important injuries, and even Josh Allen's status in the game. I've gathered information that shows why this game could completely change the Eagles' mood for the postseason. But first, comment below, this Super Bowl is ours. And stay with me until the end, my friend, because what's behind this game goes far beyond the score. The Philadelphia Eagles arrive at Week 17 with the NFC East title already secured, but the matchup against the Buffalo Bills is far from a mere formality. This game has immense weight, not only for defining playoff positions, but also for assessing the team's readiness for the postseason. Although many consider the Eagles favorites, the Bills represent a specific challenge, capable of contributing to the team's performance. Will Philadelphia reach a new level, or will it export weaknesses that need to be corrected before the playoffs? Below is a more detailed analysis of the decisive battle that awaits us. In theory, the Eagles-Bills matchup promises to be exciting. Both teams boast Pro Bowl-level quarterbacks, explosive offenses, and defenses that rank among the top 5 in points allowed. The stage is set for a battle of titans, with many interesting storylines, but some uncertainties linger. The biggest one, Josh Allen's situation. After suffering a foot injury in Week 16 against the Cleveland Browns, Allen's participation in the game remains uncertain. Although Allen has expressed a desire to play, there is a possibility that the Bills' quarterback will not be in his best shape. This raises doubts about whether Buffalo will be able to deliver their best performance against an Eagles team already qualified for the playoffs. The Philadelphia Eagles arrive in Week 17 with their usual offensive arsenal, including Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devonta Smith, all ready to make an impact. The Eagles will have the return of key players like Lane Johnson and Jalen Carter, which will add even more depth to their already impressive roster. These returns couldn't come at a better time, as the Eagles will face a tough defense, especially against players like Greg Rousseau, who has been a major contributor for the Bills this season. But here's the thing, while both teams are playoff-focused, this game could take an unexpected turn depending on how the initial events unfold. If one team opens up a significant lead, we could see the game turn into something more like a preseason friendly, where both teams rested their starters early to avoid injuries. After all, securing the win is important, but preserving players for the playoffs might become a priority, especially with both teams' futures already secured. If the game becomes unbalanced early on, we could see reserve players like Tanner McKee and Mitchell Trubisky gaining significant playing time, which could transform what fans expect to be an exciting matchup into a rather anticlimactic encounter. For fans of Eagles, the real question is, will Week 17 give an idea of what the playoff campaign will be like, or will it just be a last-minute preview of how the reserves will perform under the spotlight? The outcome of this game will certainly give clues about the team's chances in the playoffs. If the Eagles manage a convincing victory over the Bills, confidence will increase for the postseason. However, a loss, even a close one, shouldn't be a cause for panic, especially if key players are rested to avoid injuries. Regardless of the outcome, the Philadelphia Eagles are still prepared for a strong playoff run. As for the Bills, it largely depends on Allen being able to take the field and perform at his usual high level. Even if he has played, it's uncertain how effective he will be with the injury still present. If the Eagles' defense can neutralize Allen and take advantage of Buffalo's depleted roster, this game could be the perfect test for Philadelphia to hone their game before the playoffs begin. All of this makes the game unpredictable on the field. But before any bold move becomes reality, there is one factor: decisive, and it appears directly in the injury report. Injuries are always a factor in any NFL game, and the Week 17 matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Buffalo Bills is no different. Both teams are dealing with serious injuries, and this will have a profound impact on how the game unfolds. With both halves looking to maintain momentum for the playoffs, key players on both sides will need to step up, while others may be sidelined for this crucial matchup. For the Bills, the most concerning injury is to quarterback Josh Allen. After suffering a foot injury in Week 16, Allen has been listed as having limited participation in Week 17 practice, although he has made it clear that he wants to play. However, foot injuries for quarterbacks are always tricky, especially when mobility is so important to a player like Allen. If Allen can't play at his full capacity, the Bills could be in serious trouble, as they will be relying on their backup, Mitchell Trubisky, who has little experience leading the team. In addition to Allen's consultation, the Bills have several key defensive players listed as questionable or out of the game. Safety Jordan Poyer, defensive tackle Jordan Phillips, and cornerback Taron Johnson are all dealing with injuries that have prevented them from fully participating in this week's practices. These players have been fundamental to the Bills' defensive success this season, and their Their absences could leave the team vulnerable to a fiery Eagles offense. On the Eagles side, the team is also dealing with some key player injuries. Offensive tackle Lane Johnson, who has missed games this season due to a foot injury, had limited participation in this week's practices. Johnson's absence from the offensive line would be a significant blow to the Eagles' chances of protecting Jalen Hurts, especially against the Bills' intense defensive pressure. However, the Eagles have managed to adapt to offensive line injuries throughout the season, so it will be interesting to see how they fare in Week 17. On defense, linebacker Nakobe Dean, who has been performing solidly this year, is dealing with a hamstring injury and did not participate in this week's practices. The potential absence of Dean would be a tough blow for the already depleted Eagles linebacker group. In addition, tight end Cameron Latu and wide receiver Devonta Smith are also recovering from injuries, although both have fully participated in this week's practices and should be fit for the game. The Eagles' defensive line, especially Jalen Carter, will be one of the most important factors in this game. Carter, who has had a solid season so far, will need to stand out and help the Eagles' defense stifle the Bills' offense, especially if Allen isn't playing at 100%. The Eagles' ability to pressure the Bills' quarterback, whoever it is, will be crucial to limiting Buffalo's offensive opportunities. While losses are always a concern, both teams are set for the playoffs, and the importance of the game couldn't be greater. The question for both sides is whether their key players will be able to play despite the pain and deliver the result when it matters most. Whether it's Allen's ability to play with a foot injury or the strength of the Eagles' offensive line, this game will depend on how well both teams can overcome the adversities imposed by their loss reports. As we eagerly await this crucial game, fans will be watching to see which players will be able to overcome the pain and which times they will emerge victorious in this decisive Week 17 matchup. With key players injured and uncertainty surrounding Josh Allen, how do you believe the dynamics of the game between the Eagles and the Bills will be affected in Week 17? Will the Eagles, already guaranteed the NFC East, go all out or opt to test their reserves, such as McKee and Trubisky, while the Bills could surprise with a limited Allen or even a contingency plan without him? Leave your opinion here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to update you with the latest Eagles news.